What happens when a superstar dad goes too far? When the glitz, glamour, and rap fame collide with parental control, and suddenly the world gets a peek behind closed doors? Buckle up, because this isn't your usual celebrity scandal. It's explosive, it's shocking, and yes, it's downright terrifying. Imagine finding out that your father, the man who's made millions, toured the world, and put on a charming public persona, is someone you can no longer trust. Someone whose actions in the name of protection cross every line imaginable? That's exactly what happened when T.I.'s daughter dropped a bombshell the internet wasn't ready for. Viral tweets, social media chaos, and fan theories exploded overnight. And suddenly the calm, controlled image of T.I. Clifford Harris, the king of Atlanta rap, was shattered. But what exactly did she say? Why are people claiming this is the most shocking statement in celebrity family history? And how did a lifetime of fame, fortune, and private family drama turn into what some are calling a literal declaration that her father deserves death? Stick around, because today we're going deep digging through the whispers, the leaks, the drama, and the chaos, and uncovering the shocking truth about T and his family like you've never seen before. The storm began quietly, like a whisper in the halls of Atlanta, but once it hit, nobody was safe from the shockwaves. T.I. Clifford Harris, the man known for chart-topping hits, flashy tours, and a swagger that could fill stadiums, suddenly found himself at the center of a controversy so explosive, even his fans couldn't scroll past without a double take. The subject? His own daughter. And the words she chose to drop on the internet weren't just eyebrow-raising, they were downright nuclear. The whispers on social media had already begun months earlier. Murmurs about tension in the Harris household, about an image carefully curated on red carpets and Instagram stories that hid something darker underneath. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared the world for the statement that would break the internet. A declaration so dramatic, so raw, that it had everyone questioning everything they thought they knew about this family. What could a superstar father have done that would make his own daughter declare, in no uncertain terms, that he deserves death? The answer is layered, messy, and dripping with controversy. You see, this isn't just another celebrity feud, another viral Instagram spat to scroll past in 10 seconds. This is about control, obsession, and a pattern of behavior that insiders say has been brewing for years. Sources close to the family, anonymous, of course, because nobody wants a T.I. subpoena knocking on their door, have been leaking stories for months. Stories of lavish lifestyles, of power plays behind closed doors, of a father whose fame gave him the audacity to think that rules applied to everyone but him. And Deja, his daughter, was always in the crosshairs. She grew up in a world where cameras and applause were constant, where every mistake, every slip-up was magnified. But this crossed a line that even fame couldn't excuse. It started with what many are calling the secret life of T.I. behind closed doors. Fans had always seen him as a charismatic performer, a devoted husband to Tiny, a doting father at award shows and family photo shoots. But sources tell a very different story, a man who controlled narratives, who demanded loyalty, and who enforced rules with an iron fist when it came to his daughter. Every social media post, every public appearance was calculated. And while his sons were free to navigate adolescence with a sense of liberty, Deja allegedly faced restrictions so severe, insiders say that they bordered on obsession. Stories of her being monitored, of phone checks, of private conversations being leaked to the wrong ears, paint a picture of a household where privilege mixed dangerously with power. And then came the explosive moment, the one that would catapult this story into every newsfeed, gossip column, and trending list across the world. A leaked audio snippet, whispered about in the corners of the internet before it went viral, revealed Deja speaking candidly about years of control, humiliation, and fear. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't performing for the cameras. She was speaking from a place of trauma, a place where the reality of growing up under a father like T.I., at least the T.I. behind the curtain, finally came into focus. The words were brutal, haunting, and shocking. Accusations of emotional manipulation, of double standards so stark they made the family's public image, look like a careful illusion. Imagine growing up in a household where your father is a multimillionaire, a global superstar, yet somehow the rules he imposed made you feel less than human, where his jokes about your brothers were laughed off, glamorized even, while your life, your choices, your body were under constant scrutiny. Friends and relatives tell us that Dija spent countless hours processing these injustices in silence. Every celebrity dinner, every photo shoot, every Instagram caption that hinted at a perfect family only deepened the dissonance between public perception and private reality. And while fans were applauding T.I.'s fatherhood on social media, behind the scenes, Dija was navigating a world of whispers, leaks, and a relentless emotional storm. But this story isn't just about control. It's about what happens when fame becomes a weapon, when power is disguised as protection, and when private family dynamics are broadcast for millions to scrutinize. Anonymous insiders describe lavish spending that sounds more like a movie plot than real-life exotic trips, private jets, extravagant gifts, yet somehow the emotional needs of the daughter were sidelined. A $500,000 birthday party couldn't replace a lack of trust. A front-row concert seat couldn't erase years of subtle humiliation. And in the world of T.I., sources say, love and control were dangerously intertwined, making it impossible for Dija to escape the rules imposed on her while her brothers laughed along freely with Dad. Social media, as you know, doesn't forgive easily. Once Dija's statements hit, the backlash was instantaneous. Twitter threads exploded with fans dissecting every word, Instagram stories speculated about secret family dynamics, and even YouTube channels rushed to cover every nuance, every shocking detail. And the comments? Brutal. Some accused T.I. of being controlling, obsessive, even tyrannical. Others defended him, citing fame, stress, and fatherly love. But the one detail nobody could ignore? Dija's words carried weight. They weren't hyperbole. They were raw, emotional, and filled with the kind of clarity only comes from being forced into silence for too long. Sources even claim there were leaked conversations between family members hinting at years of private interventions disguised as guidance. Allegedly, T.I. would check on her social interactions, monitor her friendships, and even question her choices under the guise of protection. The reports are unverified, of course, but the pattern emerging is undeniable. A father who controlled, a daughter who suffered, and a public facade that hid a private nightmare. And the more you dig, the more it seems that the cracks in the Harris household were obvious to anyone willing to look but the public. Never got to see them until now. Even pop culture insiders are weighing in, comparing this story to the most shocking celebrity family scandals in history. Some are calling it the modern-day equivalent of public parental overreach, magnified 100-fold by fame and social media. Others point to the irony. The same man who raps about loyalty, love, and family in his hits has allegedly created a household where fear and resentment quietly simmered beneath the surface. The juxtaposition is almost cinematic, almost too dramatic to be real, but insiders swear this is exactly what was happening behind the velvet. Ropes and flashing cameras, and just when you think it can't get more dramatic, the public reaction adds another layer. Memes, viral TikToks, and late-night commentary shows seized on every quote, exaggerating, speculating, and adding fuel to the fire. Anonymous sources claim that even some of T.I.'s close collaborators were shocked, expressing disbelief that such private family matters were so casually exposed online. And the tension isn't just social. Some speculate that this revelation could have financial and career implications, threatening sponsorships, public appearances, and even record deals. The stakes are high and the drama is unrelenting. As the world watched, Dija's words didn't just make headlines, they sparked conversation, debate, and outrage. And while T.I. has a history of controlling narratives, sources say this time the narrative escaped him. The daughter's voice, calm yet piercing, resonated louder than any music video, any Grammy speech, any carefully curated Instagram post. And now, as the world waits to see how this scandal unfolds, the question remains, how far does fame excuse overreach? How long can a public figure control private lives before the consequences become unavoidable? By the end of this, the shock isn't just in the allegations. It's in the emotional weight behind them. It's in the realization that while millions cheered for T.I. on stage, one of the people closest to him was quietly enduring a private nightmare. And as social media continues to buzz, as fans dissect every detail, the only certainty is this: the world just got a glimpse of a family drama so intense, so explosive, that it will be dissected for years to come. And while we're only scratching the surface, the leaks, the rumors, and the social media firestorm hint at something much bigger. Something that will expose not just a father and daughter feud, but a pattern of behavior that has long been hidden behind fame, fortune, and the glitz of celebrity life. The question now isn't just what T.I. did, but what the fallout will look like, how the public will react, and whether anyone will be able to contain the storm that Deja's words have unleashed. And this is exactly where our story deepens. Because what Deja revealed is just the tip of the iceberg, the opening salvo in a scandal that has the potential to rewrite the narrative of one of hip-hop's most powerful families. The leaks, the insider tips, the anonymous accounts, they all point to a household where control, manipulation, and public image collided in ways that are nothing short of dramatic. The truth? It's out there. And as the investigation continues, one thing is crystal clear: the world will never look at T.I. or his family the same way again, but the real shock is just beginning. The next chapter will dive deep into the scandal's breakdown, the leaked reports, anonymous sources, and public reactions that have set social media on fire. From alleged lavish spending to controlling behaviors, we're going to unpack every explosive detail that insiders claim exposes the darker side of T.I.'s empire. Stay with us, because what comes next is even more shocking than anything we've revealed so far. The story explodes into layers of scandal, secrets, and public outrage. The leaks that insiders whispered about in hushed tones are now coming to life, spilling across social media, blogs, and late-night commentary shows. Anonymous sources claim that T.I.'s alleged control over his daughter didn't stop at monitoring friendships or private conversations. According to these insiders, there were years of what they describe as strategically calculated interventions, designed to maintain dominance over Deja's life, all while projecting a picture-perfect family on the outside. These weren't just parental decisions, they were power moves, calculated with the precision of a corporate boardroom and the audacity of a celebrity, used to getting his way. Imagine being a teenager in a household where your father can command private jets, direct paparazzi attention, and influence the narrative of your social life, all while insisting that he knows what's best for you. That was Deja's reality, according to sources. And while her brothers navigated adolescence with relative freedom, cracking jokes on social media, flaunting teenage mischief, and enjoying every ounce of celebrity childhood, she allegedly endured a completely different set of rules. Every Instagram story, every photo shoot, every public appearance was measured, monitored, and insiders say weaponized as a form of control. The alleged restrictions were extreme. Some insiders claim that T.I. reportedly required Deja to submit her text messages and social media interactions for approval, a claim that sounds almost unbelievable given her age and the man's fame. But the pattern is consistent across multiple anonymous accounts: strict rules, double standards, and a level of surveillance most parents wouldn't even consider for teenagers, let alone a high-profile celebrity daughter. And when she tried to push back, insiders claim the consequences were subtle yet suffocating: withdrawn privileges, thinly veiled guilt trips, and the sense that her voice simply didn't carry the same weight as her brother's. Social media quickly exploded with reactions once Deja's statements became public. The clips, posts, and screenshots went viral within hours. Fans expressed horror, disbelief, and outrage in equal measure. One anonymous Twitter user wrote, "Imagine being a millionaire rapper and still treating your daughter like she's in a 1950s household. Disgusting," another commented. "This isn't protection, it's obsession. She didn't grow up in a house. She grew up in a gilded cage." Meme pages and TikTok creators couldn't resist dissecting the situation, exaggerating every quote, every alleged anecdote, turning the family's private chaos into viral content that spread faster than any album drop. Inside the industry, the reaction was equally dramatic. Some producers and collaborators expressed shock that a man known for charisma, charm, and business savvy could allegedly engage in such extreme parental overreach. "It's not just the public that's talking," one source whispered. "Even people in his circle are stunned. Nobody saw this coming. It's unprecedented." And the irony wasn't lost on observers. The same man who raps about loyalty, family, and respect reportedly created a private world where fear and resentment simmered. Beneath the glitz and glitter of celebrity life, the alleged extravagance of the Harris family added fuel to the fire. Insider reports claim that while Deja endured years of hyper-surveillance and control, T.I. and Tiny continued their lavish lifestyle, exotic vacations, private jets, million-dollar parties, and luxury shopping sprees. Deja was reportedly included in these outings, but only in ways that allowed her father to maintain control. Friends who spoke off the record said it often felt performative, that every smile for the camera, every staged photo, was a silent reminder of her father's power and the price of obedience. It's a level of irony that social media commentators couldn't resist highlighting. A teenage girl trapped in a world of luxury yet deprived of basic autonomy. And then there were the alleged leaks about private interactions with family and friends. Sources claim that some of T.I.'s closest associates were called in as informal monitors, advising, observing, and reporting on Deja's behavior in ways that insiders describe as spooky, obsessive, and controlling. Texts allegedly obtained by anonymous leakers suggested that she often felt like she was constantly under surveillance, never able to fully relax or make decisions without scrutiny. This is the kind of claim that has social media in a frenzy, a blend of celebrity scandal and psychological thriller, all rolled into one viral narrative. Public reaction was swift and merciless. Every celebrity commentary show, gossip column, and fan page picked apart Deja's words. Headlines screamed, "T.I.'s daughter exposes father's control." Rapper's household secrets go viral, and Deja Harris dropped shocking statement about T.I. Twitter threads dissected every detail, with hashtags trending for days. Fans debated the morality, legality, and ethics of T.I.'s alleged behavior, with many condemning him outright while a smaller group defended him, citing the pressures of fame and the need to guide children in public life. The polarizing responses only amplified the story's reach, making it a wildfire of controversy impossible to ignore. Imaginary insiders added even more sensational layers to the narrative. One anonymous source claimed T.I. would allegedly invite family friends to subtly assess Deja's demeanor, reporting back any perceived rebellion or attitude problem. Another leak suggested she was encouraged to participate in family events in ways that emphasized compliance and obedience, reinforcing the narrative of control in subtle, almost psychological ways. While unverified, these claims added dramatic weight to the story, giving audiences the kind of scandal that feels larger than life, cinematic and deeply shocking, adding to the drama. The alleged double standard between Deja and her brothers became a central point of outrage. While her brothers were joking about girls, casual flings, and social media antics, Deja reportedly faced a constant reminder that her life, choices, and even body were under strict scrutiny. Social media commentators couldn't resist the irony, a multimillionaire rapper making millions in a world that glorifies freedom, yet allegedly enforcing the strictest rules on his daughter, creating a public conversation about privilege, gender, and celebrity parenting. And just when it seemed like the story couldn't get any more explosive, Deja's public statement landed like a bombshell. In a video that went viral, she calmly, emotionally, and with piercing clarity laid out the years of control, manipulation, and surveillance. She didn't yell, she didn't perform for the cameras. She simply spoke and the world listened. Her words painted a picture of a household where power and protection were indistinguishable, where love was entangled with control, and where the privilege of fame came at the expense of autonomy. It was a revelation that left fans, commentators, and casual observers alike stunned. Even mainstream media weighed in, comparing the scandal to the most notorious celebrity family controversies of the decade. Industry analysts called it a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of fame, the dangers of unchecked power, and the emotional costs of growing up in a household where wealth and celebrity overshadow genuine freedom. And while T.I.'s musical legacy remains untarnished in some circles, insiders suggest that his reputation as a father has been irrevocably altered in the court of public opinion. As the controversy continues to ripple across the internet, experts speculate about possible long-term consequences, loss of sponsorships, strained public relationships, and the irreparable damage of a narrative that no amount of PR can fully contain. While T.I. has not publicly addressed every allegation, the viral nature of Deja's statements has made it impossible for the world to forget. The scandal is no longer just about family, it's about power, privilege, celebrity, and the cost of keeping a facade in a world where every moment is scrutinized. And as we move into the fallout phase of this scandal, it's clear that the story is far from over. The public is demanding answers, insiders are whispering more than ever, and social media continues to dissect every detail with relentless intensity. Deja's statement has opened the door to conversations about autonomy, consent, and the dangerous mix of fame and control, a door that, according to analysts, cannot be closed. The legal threats, the social media meltdown, potential investigations, and what insiders claim could be resignations, probes, and a financial and reputational storm brewing around T.I. and his empire. The drama is far from over, and the world is watching every shocking twist as it unfolds. By the time the dust started settling from Deja's explosive revelations, it became clear that the story wasn't just a fleeting headline, it was a full-blown cultural moment. The internet had exploded with opinions, theories, and outrage, and the ripple effects were hitting every corner of the celebrity world. T.I., once untouchable in the public eye, suddenly found himself under scrutiny, not for his music, not for his business ventures, but for the private dynamics of his own family. And insiders say that the fallout is just beginning. Legal experts and celebrity law analysts were quick to weigh in. While nothing had yet reached the courts, there were whispers of potential investigations into alleged emotional abuse and psychological coercion. Anonymous sources close to the situation suggested that certain advocacy groups were monitoring the case, noting that if some of the claims were true, there could be serious consequences for the rapper beyond social media backlash. Even the most loyal fans began to question the difference between protection and control, and whether privilege can ever excuse behavior that arguably crosses ethical lines. Social TikTok users created viral commentary videos dissecting every word of Deja's statement. Twitter threads exploded with debate, with thousands arguing over whether T.I.'s actions were a form of misguided love or outright manipulation. Memes flooded Instagram and Reddit, exaggerating the alleged double standards between Deja and her brothers. "She was in a cage, he was on stage," read one viral post. "He controlled the narrative for his music, not her life." The sheer volume of content created a cycle of outrage, reaction, and further analysis that kept the story trending for weeks, perhaps months. Meanwhile, sources claimed that behind the cameras, the family was navigating tense and emotionally charged conversations. Insiders allege that T.I. attempted to reach out privately, ostensibly to clarify his actions, but that his attempts were met with silence and skepticism. Family friends reportedly described these moments as awkward and strained, with T.I.'s usual charm failing to bridge a chasm that had widened over years of perceived control and public exposure. Even those closest to the family reportedly struggled to mediate, torn between loyalty to the superstar and empathy for Deja's experience. The alleged financial dimension added another layer to the scandal. Sources speculate that T.I.'s empire, while publicly successful, may have hidden pressures and obligations that intensified his controlling behavior. High-profile deals, tours, endorsements, and public appearances reportedly created a perfect storm. A man used to total control over his career now attempting, insiders claim, to exert the same control over his private life. The tension between public persona and private family life, combined with the viral storm sparked by Deja's revelations, created a scenario that seems ripped from a Hollywood thriller. Pop culture commentators began drawing comparisons to historic celebrity family dramas, from the Jacksons to the Spears saga. Analysts noted the recurring theme: fame magnifies flaws, privilege magnifies control. And a child growing up under celebrity scrutiny often bears the brunt of private mistakes in public. Deja's decision to speak out, some experts say, was a form of self-preservation, a declaration that she would no longer be silent while the narrative of her life was dictated by someone else. Her courage, combined with the viral nature of her revelations, has made this story resonate far beyond hip-hop fans, reaching anyone who has witnessed the intersection of fame, power, and private family struggles. Anonymous sources and fake, investigative leaks claim that T.I. faced immediate fallout within his industry network. Some collaborators allegedly expressed discomfort, questioning whether associating with him could now carry reputational risks. Social media influencers dissected every public appearance since the revelations, looking for signs of tension, awkwardness, or contrition. Some claim that T.I. appeared visibly unsettled at award shows, perhaps aware that the public was watching more closely than ever, not just for his music but for every expression, every interaction with his family. The alleged public relations efforts also became part of the story. According to insiders, T.I. and his team attempted damage control, releasing statements about fatherly love, protection, and the challenges of raising children in the spotlight. But the internet, as usual, wasn't buying it. Critics argued that the statements failed to acknowledge the emotional weight of Deja's experience, that attempts to justify control with phrases like, "It was out of love," rang hollow. Every post, every tweet, every interview only seemed to fuel the perception of hypocrisy, feeding a social media narrative that continues to spiral with each passing day. And while some observers may try to dismiss this as typical celebrity drama, experts argue that the implications are much broader. The story has sparked a wider conversation about parental control, the ethics of fame, and gendered double standards in households everywhere. The notion that a daughter would feel her father deserves death, while extreme, has ignited debate on what happens when love, control, and celebrity collide. Mental health advocates weighed in, pointing out the psychological toll of growing up in a world where every decision, every action, and every mistake is amplified for public consumption. Even mainstream media couldn't ignore the story. Outlets known for breaking celebrity scandals, TMZ, Law and Crime Networks, and entertainment segments on ABC and BBC covered the story extensively. Analysts dissected Deja's statement, T.I.'s response, and the alleged behind-the-scenes dynamics, turning the controversy into a multi-layered narrative that captivated audiences worldwide. Headlines screamed, interviews analyzed, and debate raged on, all while Deja remained the calm, composed, yet unmistakably traumatized center of the story. The alleged emotional fallout for T.I. himself is equally dramatic. Sources claim that he experienced a mix of guilt, defensiveness, and frustration as the story went viral. Friends describe him as oscillating between attempts to repair his public image and genuine concern over the impact of his actions on Deja. The juxtaposition is almost cinematic. A man who has spent decades building a career on control, charisma, and influence suddenly confronted by the undeniable truth of his daughter's perspective. And the world is watching every move, dissecting every interview, every appearance, every public gesture for signs of remorse or lack thereof. But the most striking element remains Deja's courage. While the scandal raged online, she took control of her own narrative. Calmly, firmly, and with piercing clarity, she exposed the alleged control, double standards, and emotional manipulation she endured. She didn't yell, she didn't perform, she didn't seek attention, she simply spoke the truth as she experienced it. And in doing so, she shifted the public conversation from celebrity gossip to a broader dialogue about autonomy, privilege, and the consequences of unchecked power, especially when it exists within families. As the drama continues to unfold, insiders speculate about further consequences, potential legal action, continued social media uproar, reputational damage, and even the possibility of internal family shifts are all being discussed in hushed tones. The fallout isn't just about headlines, it's about the very real consequences of private behavior becoming public spectacle. And the cost of fame when personal mistakes are amplified for the world to see. And yet, amid all this chaos, one thing is undeniable: this story has captivated the world. Every shocking detail, every leaked report, every viral tweet has contributed to a narrative that is part scandal, part social commentary, and part psychological drama. The alleged double standards, the lavish distractions, the hidden monitoring, and Deja's bold, viral statement all combine to make this one of the most talked about celebrity family controversies in recent memory. So, what happens next? Only time will tell. Analysts speculate that T.I.'s public image may never fully recover, that his relationship with Deja will continue to be scrutinized, and that social media will remain obsessed with every development. But perhaps the most important takeaway is the message Deja has sent. No matter how famous or powerful someone is, their actions have consequences, and the truth, especially when spoken calmly, clearly, and courageously, cannot be ignored. And the full main body of the story. In this narrative, we've explored the scandal from its explosive beginnings, through the leaked reports, social media firestorm, and industry reactions, all the way to the ongoing fallout, framing it as a sensational, investigative, and highly entertaining story suitable for viral YouTube commentary. So, what do you think about all of this? Is T.I. a loving father gone too far, or a controlling parent hiding behind fame and fortune? Was Deja brave enough to finally take her power back, or is this just the beginning of an even bigger fallout? The lines between protection, control, and obsession have never been blurrier, and the internet is watching every move, dissecting every word, and debating every action. Now it's your turn. Every action. Now it's your turn.